Is the transition at risk because of those other two priorities?
So the transition's not at risk, it's the pace of transition that's at risk. This is going to take longer than we thought 5 years ago, actually probably 2 years ago, because of the interruptions in energy security, because of where the money is going to go, because energy security requires diversification of sources, so a lot of people are putting money in a whole variety of diversified sources, and it takes time to mount the amount of capital we need to get the transition done. It's huge. It's at least 3 times, if not 4 times, what we're spending today.
But there was a time when some of the biggest money on the planet was full-heartedly backing ESG, was full-heartedly backing the board and motions that would go through backing up swifter energy transition. And I'm not just talking about in Europe, I'm talking about global energy companies. I see some of that money not having the same commitment it had, as you say, just a couple of years ago.
Well, I think the money always in the free market chases returns. And if returns are higher somewhere, they're going to go elsewhere. So that's why, in the US, the Inflation Reduction Act was put in place, so people can actually invest in returns that make sense. And I expect there'll be more and more structures which, in the end, put a price for releasing carbon into the atmosphere. And that's, after all, what's got to happen here, that makes the market change subtly direction so that people can invest in reducing carbon dioxide. There are plenty of investments to be made, there are plenty of high returns, but they are in the hands of all the players, not just the oil majors.
Lord Browne, as you know, technology and decarbonisation are intrinsically linked, and I know this is something that you've demonstrated from the very onset of your career, something that you've understood. What are the technologies that are going to ensure that 1.5 stays alive?
Well, there's no doubt that the most important things are, first, the multiple ways of generating electricity cleanly, whether that's nuclear fission, small nuclear reactors, or fusion in, let's say, 20 years' time, whether it's better renewables. After all, solar and wind have not exhausted the opportunities to get better and better and better. Better distribution systems. So there's a whole area here, a lot of things. The other one is, how do we actually just directly capture and get rid of carbon dioxide? Plenty of ways of doing that. The oil majors are focused, I think, in the areas where they probably are the best, which is in carbon capture and storage. But that's only one way. There has to be direct reduction of carbon in the atmosphere. There are lots of people looking at that, and the technologies are getting exciting because some of these technologies produce very valuable byproducts, such as hydrogen.
And looking at your work now, what are some of the companies within the portfolio that are showing great promise?
So the most exciting thing is the companies that optimize supply chains. How do you get from A to B a million times over, reducing carbon dioxide? So that's one, really, and reducing costs at the same time, because they tend to go hand in hand. So there's a whole area of carbon reduction through software. Software will not solve the whole problem of climate change, but it'll get you 20% of the answer. And then the other area, of course, is the global south, a much ignored area where we have to put more and more effort. We'll do that in COP28. We've invested in sub-Saharan Africa. It's really very exciting area of reducing CO2 very quickly.